Hey guys, it's John back again for another video, and today we're going to be covering something that's been out for a while, but something that's also very new to the game. Today we're going to be covering ranked PvP. I'm going to be showing you guys how to be one of the best, and with some work, potentially the best player for ranked. Now previously I made a video covering my account and stating that I do want to try out ranked because it's something that I haven't touched. And over the past week, I've been grinding ranked like crazy. Well, myself and the vice captain of my guild, shout out BQ by the way, I've managed to get thousands of trophies. I was able to buy every single skin, including getting all the exploration speedups that matter and being able to buy every single pack. So like I said, today we're going to be going over some of the most essential aspects of PvP, going over the best support cards, the best support units, and some of the best attack units for your team, as well as just covering and giving you guys some good teams in general. So if you're looking to participate in PvP, if you're looking to get all of these rewards, if you want to get better at the game, this is the video for you. If you haven't seen this masterpiece of a video, go check it out. We pulled probably the craziest pull you will ever see on YouTube. But we're also doing a giveaway for a Halloween booster bundle, which costs about $100. All you need to do to enter the giveaway is to like the video, leave a comment, and be subscribed to the channel. And the winner will be announced when we get to 5,000 subscribers. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let's continue. Now, as you guys know, every team has 4 support slots and 4 attack slots. So we're going to start off with our supports. Now, I have 10 support cards that are going to be very useful, and I have them in 4 categories. I have advantage cards, boost cards, reduction cards, and survivability cards. I'm going to go over them in the exact same order I listed. They're not better or worse than each other. I'm just going to go over the cards and give you guys the different categories. And for our first advantage card, we have Binding Light. Ability, Seal of Restriction. When the supported card is defeated, the opponent's ability is disabled for 2 turns. Now, I mean, obviously, I don't need to explain to you why that's a very good ability. Only downside to that is that obviously for this card to take effect, your card now needs to die. But getting your opponent's ability deactivated for 2 turns can change the tide of the battle tremendously. Next, we have Orb of Dominance. Ability, Domination. On entry, if the opponent has less damage than you, disables their ability for 2 turns and boosts your damage by 20%. Now, similarly to Binding Light, as we can see, this card also disables your ability, but the upside is your card does not need to die. However, there is still a drawback. Every upside has a downside, and in this case, you need to have more damage than your opponent. If not, the card does not activate. But Orb of Dominance is probably one of the best cards that you can use in PvP. And lastly, for our advantage cards, we have Truth Seeking Orbs. Ability, Path of Truth. On entry, disables the enemy support card for 2 turns in exchange for 10% of your damage. Now, this card does not disable your ability, but what it does is it disables the support card of your enemy. Only thing is, you lose 10% of your damage. Now, in certain situations, this can be very beneficial. In other situations, it can be the reason that you lose. So use this where you see fit, but it can be a very good support card for your team, depending on how it's built, obviously. Next, we're going to go over our boost support cards. And first up, we have Big Brain. Ability, Brainiac. On entry, strikes the enemy with Divine Light, dealing 75% of the supported card's damage. In addition, prevents the supported card's skill from being disabled. So we're getting immediate 75% damage, as well as disabling our enemy's skill, as well as preventing our skill from being disabled. So this also can turn the tide around. For example, let's say someone is using Orb of Dominance or Binding Light. This prevents you or your card from the ability being disabled, as well as gives you an immediate 75% of your damage attack, which means you get 2 attacks off, the attack from this card as well as your personal attack from your card as well. So this technically could have gone in the first category, but just because it gave you an additional 75% damage, I put it as a boost card. And there are a bunch of other cards that can do this as well, but in PvP, I think this is the one that stands out the most, hence it being the one that was chosen. And next off, the obvious choice, Fallen Knight. Ability, Harvest. When the supported card is defeated, all allies receive a buff for 15% of the supported card's max health and damage. So it doesn't only boost your health, or it doesn't only boost your damage, but it boosts both of them simultaneously, your health as well as your damage. And I don't think I need to explain to you how much of a useful card this is. Why would you not want an additional 15% health and damage? It's just a straight boost to your card's survivability and effectiveness. And to counteract our boosters, The next card we're going to cover is Mech Contract. Ability, Mech Summon, and this card simply reduces all incoming damage by 25%. Whether it's from their support card, or whether it's from their card itself, or whether their card does multiple strikes, it reduces every single hit by 25%. Which means hypothetically, let's say your card could have only taken 4 hits, right? And you would have been dead. This card allows you to take an additional hit, which could just turn the tide of a battle. So that 25% reduction, as much as it may not seem like that big of a difference, it's a huge difference, especially if the fight goes the distance. And lastly, for our support cards, we have survivability, which means the cards that allow you to survive or take more hits the longest. And first off, we're going to start with Old Faithful, Slayer Mark. Ability, Awaken. While on the field, the supported card will survive the first fatal attack with 1 HP. So that means if you're going to die from 1 hit, this allows you to take 2 hits, which now allows you to do damage back to your opponent, which might be the difference between you winning and losing a fight. After Slayer Mark, we have another Old Faithful, Limitless. Ability, Infinity. When the supported card gets hit for the first time while on the field, nullifies all damage. Do you know how crazy that is? The first hit done to you has no effect. Let me say that again. You completely negate all damage done to you by the first hit. I don't think I need to explain to you how good this card is, and I'm pretty sure most of you know how good it is. So we're going to go on to our next card, or our next set of cards, because they're both very new, and they're both cards that we get from the new boss, Awakened King of Curses. So they might be a little more difficult to get because they're not cards that you can just pull. But I will say they are the best survivability cards. Starting off with the second best, Reverse Curse Technique. Ability, Hyper Regeneration. After each enemy attack, heals for 85% of the damage received in exchange for 15% of your max health. This supported card is limited to 3 activations, and healing will not exceed your maximum health. So basically, what this is saying is, every hit that's done to you, you regenerate 85% of your health in exchange for 15% of your max health, and you can do this for 3 turns. Which, again, I'll be honest, I've said this before, and I'll be saying this again for the next card. This ability is, I don't think I need to explain to you how good it is. It's a very, very good ability, and again, can change the tide in battle, making a significant difference with regards to your card being dead or surviving a fatal hit. And now, with what I deem to be the best survivability card, we have Binding Vow. Ability, Sorcery Knowledge. Upon first fatal blow, revive to 85% HP in exchange for 25% of your damage. This support card skill is limited to 1 use only, and 1 use is more than enough. Basically, you're sacrificing 25% of your damage for a whole other life. Basically what I'm telling you is this has to be on your PvP team. It's not a maybe or probably, or I'll think. If this card is not on your PvP team, you're losing. You're doomed to fail. Okay, let's just leave it like that. But these are all the significant support cards that I found that are going to make a very, very big difference in your PvP playstyle or just your game playstyle in general. This helps for not only PvP, but completing story mode, completing towers, completing difficult content. Support cards make a big difference, and these cards I feel like have the most significant impact in your playstyle. If you think I missed a card or have a suggestion, leave it down in the comments and let's have a discussion about it. If you're watching the video and you're enjoying so far, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. But now that we've had all the support cards out of the way, we're going to go over the units that I think are the most significant and the units I've come across the most while I was grinding PvP. Now again, we have 4 categories. We have boosters, healers, utility. To be fair, they're all utility, but just listen, okay? Don't worry about what I'm doing, just listen. And the 4th category is what I consider monsters. Don't ask questions, bro. But these are the cards that I've seen the most. Granted, one of them is a limited card, but I think not because it's limited means I'm not gonna cover it. It's a very good card anyway. So once again, we're going to start off with Old Faithful, that being Forest Sage. We all know how valuable Forest Sage is. We all know how good Forest Sage is. Ability, Forest Blessing. Increases all allies' health and damage by 25% after this card is defeated. I mean, I don't think this needs any explanation or introduction. 25% health and damage. I mean, come on, bro. one of the most significant boosters in the game, and it doesn't only boost your damage, it boosts both your health and your damage. Next, we have Survey Commander, ability, Tactical Advance. On entry, grant a buff to all allies that increases damage by 20%. For every ally buffed, this card gains 15% damage. Now, realistically, this card getting buffed means nothing unless you probably have like a secret version, and even then, it's not that significant. But it buffs all your allies by 20% damage. And 20% is a very significant amount. No, it's obviously not as good as Forest Sage, but if you don't have Forest Sage, this is a good alternative as a booster. And before we move on to our last booster card, as an honorable mention, we're going to have Cosmic Villain. And this is a card funny enough, have not seen in PvP at all. You might get it in any, but I haven't run into it at all. But scaled, you'll definitely never see this card. However, it is a very good card, so we're going to cover it. And I think if I don't say Cosmic Villain is a booster, I'm gonna get a bunch of comments. So, Cosmic Villain, ability, power storage, stores all damage taken while on the field. When this card is defeated, increases all allies' attack by 35% of the damage stored. This skill can only activate twice per party, which means you can only have 2 Cosmic Villains and have the ability stack. But, I mean, 35% damage increase is pretty good, but it's not 35% flat out, it's 35% of the damage that it takes. And normally, you would pair this card up with a Slayer Mark. And lastly, for our final boost card, Merged Beast. Ability, Inherited Totality. After each enemy attack, this card counterattacks for 75% damage. Upon death, all party members gain 30% health permanently and 20% damage reduction for 3 turns. This skill is limited to being used by 1 member per party. So basically what this card is doing is giving the next card a 30% health increase and a 20% damage reduction for 3 turns. This, I think, is the most meta PvP support card or meta PvP booster, and for obvious reasons. What people normally do is they put this before their strongest card, and I mean for 3 turns you have reduced damage as well as it boosts that card up by 30%, which allows it to survive more or take more hits. Now we're moving on to our healers. Starting off with Chimera Ant Cat, a card that used to dominate the scene both in PvP and PvE, but it's not something that you find anymore because it got nerfed slightly, and I think that nerf to me made the card irrelevant, but I'm just being dramatic, and it's still a very, very good support card. So again, we have Chimera Ant Cat, ability, Master Puppeteer. Now this card does more than just healing, so I'm going to list out everything it does, and obviously you can see why this card might be a very good addition to your supports. Each turn before an ally or this card attacks, choose one of the following moves to apply on the active card. Heal the active card by 15% of its max health. 2. Deal 15% of the enemy's damage to himself and stun the enemy for 1 turn. 3. The enemy's next attack will be counter-attacked for 20% of the initial damage. And as a disclaimer, can only trigger up to 12 times across all party members with this ability and can only be activated by 1 user per round. So, I mean, there's multiple abilities that can be used. You have 3 abilities to be exact, but still a very, very, very good support card. Next up, we have Sacred Archprincess, which is a new tower card, the Watery Tower to be exact. Ability, Goddess's Blessing. Whenever this card or an ally is attacked, there's a 75% chance to grant a 1-turn blessing, healing ally or yourself for 35% of their max HP, up to 8 times. While blessed, if the enemy's name includes undead, demon, flame, or fire, reduces their damage from the next attack against them by 60%. This skill is limited to being used by 1 member per party. And that, I think, is where her downside lies, is that it only works on 1 party member and you can't select which one it does work on. So there's a bit of RNG involved. And I think that's a factor that I don't necessarily like, but that does not take away from the fact that she's a very, very good support card. And last but not least, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Imt.Vision. I'm a glazer, bro. I love this guy. Honestly, one of my favorite anime. But anyways, Undead King. Ability, Overlord. While alive and in the last position of the party, this card has a 35% chance each turn to cancel the damage an ally takes and heals for 20% of their max HP. Activates a maximum of 6 times per battle. On entry, nukes the opponent party for 80% of the damage that this card has healed throughout the fight. So you have a healer and someone with disgusting offense because he attacks the entire party. I mean, there's nothing else to say, bro. Goated anime, goated character, goated card, goated ability. He's the GOAT. Now that we've covered boosters and healers, we're now moving on to utility cards. And starting off, we have Herald of Fate. Ability, Inevitable Destiny. This card has a long ass wall of text. I hate to read that shit. But anyways, while alive, this card follows up every ally's attack, dealing 30% damage and has a 60% chance to brand the enemy for 2 turns. Branded enemies have a 40% chance for their abilities to be reflected back, dealing 40% of their own damage. If an enemy dies while branded, this card absorbs 30% of their stats, limited to 300% of base stats. Enemies cannot be affected by more than 1 brand at a time. While paired with Eclipse-Born Hawk or Awakened Eclipse-Born Hawk, this card has a 45% chance to save an ally from death, restoring them to 75% HP and granting a 1-turn shield. Each card can only be revived once, which means every single card in your party can be revived. However, this skill is limited to being used by 1 member per party. So again, it can pick any one of your units. Any one of them can possibly be the one that's selected. But similar to Priestess, you don't get to decide which one gets the revive and if it even gets revived. But just the fact that there's the potential for your card to get a free life is outrageous, on top of everything else that it does. Next up, we have Eminent Strategist, which is probably my favorite support card outside of Undead King right now. Ability, Strategy Outline. Grants all allies a 30% chance to dodge an attack while this card is alive. Cards with Eminence in their name have the dodge chance increased to 40%. Chance does not stack with multiple users and can only trigger up to 12 times across all party members with this ability. If you're watching the video and you're enjoying so far, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. And lastly, before I share a few teams with you guys, again, these are all teams that I've tried, have been very successful, have been super useful. And again, you don't need to use these teams exactly as I made them. You can obviously make tweaks, use the information that I gave you in this video or previous knowledge that you've had before. After testing, you think something works better. Don't be afraid to make changes to these teams, but these are teams that I use to get to the point where I'm at, being number 10 in the entire game on Ranked. So let's start off with our first monster card, which is going to be a very difficult card to get. However, I'm going to cover it first for that exact reason, because you might not have it, so I want to get to the cards that you might actually have. First off, we have Awakened Eclipse-Born Hawk. This card does so much different things, bro. Ability, Sacrificial, Pact, Domain. On entry, create a domain with a power level equal to this card's damage that lasts 3 turns. While active, for the first active turn, all abilities from allies, enemies, and support cards are disabled. All enemies have damage reduction by 10% each turn. The opponent's damage reduction is converted to max health and equally divided to every living party member at the end of each turn. Domain can only be active once per party and can only activate if there is no domain currently active, or if the new domain is more powerful than the previous. This card's domain is cancelled on death. So I mean, this card does a lot. It reduces your opponent's damage, it gives you HP, and it nullifies the ability both of the card and the support card. So tremendous value from this card. Probably one of the best cards you will see coming up in PvP. Next, we have a card that is also kind of difficult to get, but it's still a good card anyway, so I need to cover it. And that is Ancient King of Curses, which is the new global boss that we have right now. And to get this, it's, bro, the process. Yeah, go check it out, bro. Just go to the craft stall before Ancient King of Curses, and you will see how annoying this shit is to get. But anyways, ability, Malevolent Shrine Domain. So it's another card with a domain. So we're seeing a pattern here. Domains are very good in this game. This card has a 45% chance to cancel the enemy's attack and counter attack with 5 slashes, each doing 10% of this card's maximum health. So you're doing basically 50% of your max HP as damage, which is basically 100% of your actual damage, because that's how this game works. Your damage is half your HP is double your damage. So I don't know why they didn't just say 100% of your damage. I don't know, bro. If this card successfully blocks 2 consecutive attacks, creates a domain with a power level equal to this card's damage that lasts for 3 turns. While active, all enemies inside the domain are dealt 25% of this card's damage each turn. So you're getting 75% total damage done to your enemy card. Domain can only be activated once per party and can only activate if there is no domain currently active. Basically the same thing. If there's no domain, or if the domain is weaker, it will activate. If the domain is stronger, then it's not gonna activate. It's that simple. But again, we can see how this card can be a very, very useful card. So now that we have the more difficult cards out of the way, let's go to a card that's super annoying in the story and in PvP. Also, honorable mention, Awakened King of Curses is also pretty good. You know, this is also a very good card. But the card that I was talking about is Awakened Shadow Monarch. Oh my goodness. I hate to see this card coming. Regardless of the team you have, you're gonna hate to see this card coming as well. But let's get to the ability. Monarch's Domain. Bro, what is up with all these domains? I didn't even remember this card name or this ability name had domain in it. So clearly there's a pattern, okay? Each other turn, this card will block and count every single second turn, by the way. This card will block and counter enemies' attack for 75% of this card's current health as damage. Crazy. And heals for 15% max health after each counter attack. Gains a 20% stat boost for every ally with Shadow in the name. So basically, if you're in a team with 3 Shadows, you're gonna get a 75% increase, which is probably not gonna happen in PvP if I'm being honest, but in story mode, you can try this. And yeah, it's gonna be crazy. This card, crazy. I don't think there's any other word to describe how good this card is. Next, we have Shield Hero, also a very new card. I'm not sure which tower you get it from, but it's definitely a tower card. I think you get it from Citadel, but I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But let's take a look at the ability. Shield Arsenal. On entry, summons Bird Deity. 50% damage, 250% HP. Skill, 75% chance to intercept damage. Shield Hero's ability. Airstrike Shield. Protects off-field allies from damage, max 3 times. Wrath Shield. On Fatal Blow, sacrifices 40% max HP to revive at full HP with 200% damage. Then we have Prison Shield, 25% chance to stun the enemy after each ally attack, max 5 times. And lastly, we have Iron Maiden. If Wrath Shield is active and the enemy is below 25% HP, instantly executes them. Summons can only trigger once per battle across all summon skill users, limited to 1 per party. Shield Hero, just like Senjinu, is one of the most disgusting cards you will come across in PvP and is the most frequent card outside of Senjinu that you will see in all the cards given so far. And next we have 2 cards which kind of do the same thing, but they don't at the same time, and they're also often paired together. But we'll start off with the one that's limited because most people won't have it, and then we'll go to the one that most people will and can obtain. First off, we have Flame Outlaw, which like I said is a limited card or was a limited card, and if you don't have it now, you won't be able to get in the future. Ability, Fire Fist. On entry, deals 100% damage to the target enemy and inflicts a burn to all enemies for 25% of this card's damage for 2 turns. So basically, 50% burn damage. This card is immune to all burns and will convert any attempted burn damage into healing. Will not heal past max health. I mean, I don't know why that had to be obviously. This skill's entry ability can only be activated once per party, even across multiple Fire Fist users. And next, which is also last but not least before I give you guys the teams, we have Mother of Creation. Very, very good card for completing almost every piece of AFK content, all towers including the Halloween Tower, as well as a very good card for story mode. This is just a very good card all around, and clearly, because it's in this video, a good card for PvP as well. Ability, Dimensional, again, Domain. We have so many domain cards. On entry, creates a domain with a power level equal to this card's damage that lasts for 2 turns. So unlike the others, this only lasts 2 turns. I don't know why. I think it was 3. No, I don't know. I think it was 3 and then got reduced to 2. Don't ask me why. I think it was fine at 3. While active, for the first active turn, all abilities, I think this was also for the first 2 turns. Why did they make it 1 turn? Again, they just nerfed her as soon as I believe she got released. Or if not as soon as, pretty close at like a day or 2 max, she got nerfed. For the first active turn, all abilities from allies, enemies, and support cards are disabled. Enemies inside take burn damage equal to 20% of this card's damage each turn. I mean, it's the same thing that we normally see. Domains can only be activated, blah, blah, blah. We already understand that. You can only activate your domain if you're overpowering someone else's or if a domain is not active. But essentially, these are the best support cards in-game for PvP, in my opinion, as well as some of the best attack cards or units that you can use during PvP. Now, obviously, there are probably cards that I haven't mentioned that if you think I should take note, let me know down in the comments. But anyway, let's head over to the things you guys have been looking forward to the most. I'm going to put 6 different teams that you guys can use. Again, feel free to make adjustments or make variations of these teams, but these teams are proven to work. And again, you're not going to win every match, but you're going to win 90%, or I won over 90% of my matches. Hence me being able to get every single thing in the shop, as well as being top 10 in the leaderboard. If you're watching the video and you're enjoying so far, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Anyway, I hope this video helped. Hope you guys learned something new. And I really do hope it makes a difference with your current teams and where you are at right now where PvP is concerned. Again, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.